Hello. Well, I'm here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, because I got some work, and it's contract work like I want. I started to get nervous. I wasn't quite running out of my savings that we're living off of, but sort of, we're getting through to the part where, the other thing is calculating where I'd run out. November, December isn't a good time to get work. So this is good. It's just 5 weeks of work, and they flew me down, the people I'm working for, to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And then I'll go back and do 4 weeks of work on the project. And it's really interesting stuff. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it is really interesting stuff. And there might be more than this month of work. It's a startup, an interesting startup. I'm really happy, actually. It's almost serendipitous. So I was gonna make a video outside, but it's a little bit chilly. But so I'm walking back to my room. I've been wanting to make a few videos, but I was kind of busy. I had to make an agenda for the meetings, like 4 and 5 hours of meetings a day, and just come prepared. I hadn't met them in person. I talked to them. I've been talking to them for a couple months, and there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of possibilities and promising things. But this is the actual one where I'm getting income from it. That's good. It's nice to be able to eat and feed your family and have shelter and things like that. And plus, I'm really happy. My fallback is to go get your regular kind of salaried job, which I don't really want to do anymore. I'm kind of feeling like salaried jobs is just kind of like, it is wage slavery, like they could treat you really well. And well, I've said it before, the metaphor, being a house slave, you're still being a slave. So, but I wanted to make some. What the hell? Had a problem with the key, and I just went and got another one. Then it wasn't going to work. That would bug me. So I wanted to talk about life, and not so much natalism and anti-natalism. Though I'll give credit to the anti-natalists. I mean, they won't want to take, they won't necessarily like it probably, but I still feel the same way about natalism. I believe that's a personal choice. But the attitude of anti-natalists that it doesn't matter if their lives have been good, they see how terrible it is in the world. I think there's a contrary thing that I feel, that just because my life has been difficult, that doesn't mean that I can't think that there's a positive to life. And I do think that. Also, another thing is I have a video I want to make. It's sort of a new philosophical theory that I'm going to call phantasmagoricalism. That'll be fun to get into. And I won't get into it now, but it does relate to sort of the living nature of the universe, and where life comes from, and sort of this fact that life is not something separate from the universe. It's something that's happening in the universe. It's part of the physical laws of nature, and that this false, not purely Christian, but it's a part of the Christian attitude of the separateness, like humans are fallen angels walking on the earth that somehow are different. I think that that's a false idea, and that if you feel a part of nature, then the inevitability of life comes into play, and the idea that you can play God and decide if life should be a part of the universe is like trying to decide if the gravity should be a part of the universe. And I just finished the Myth of Sisyphus, which I like to read every once in a while, but I started it a couple months ago, and then to set it down or whatever. Hadn't been reading it. I finished on a plane out here, and I find when I'm reading some of these books that I've read in the past that have been influential, that I'm seeing a lot of things in them that I hadn't seen before. And you know, I could have considered myself an absurdist in the same sense that Camus describes in that book, but I don't really think so anymore. I definitely still have a similar view, like man wants to find meaning in the universe and doesn't find any, and but I don't feel like calling that absurd that's not how I feel about it anymore. I kind of feel beyond that. Like, I interpret this desire to find meaning as the creative desire to create meaning, and that's fitting. It's not absurd. And I'm also being influenced by the couple weeks where I stopped and tried to. Well, I didn't try. I stopped and I wrote a book. It needs a lot more editing, but I got I don't know, 85-90% of draft done, having edited about 20% of that. So I thought that's pretty good for 2 weeks. I worked really hard on it, and I was developing this theory of illusion, and how something we call something an illusion after we've figured out that it's an illusion, and that an illusion is sort of the redemption of a false reality. Thinking that the sun goes around the earth would be a false reality if that's what you thought, and realizing that that it's the earth that's spinning, but still going out in the morning and enjoying the sun rising and feeling it rise, and accepting the appearance of it rising. That means that's an illusion. So it's like illusion is really where there's some truth added into reality, even though there's still this illusory sense. And in a way, everything is an illusion, because to me, as a relativist, and a skeptic, I don't think any truth is direct, or any information is direct or absolute or absolutely reliable, right? So to see the world as illusion doesn't mean that it's a false reality. It means that I can see the indirectness. I can get reality out of the fact that, okay, so I don't get perfectly direct information. It doesn't mean I don't get any information at all. And so, like, all information is illusory, and to see the illusion, to understand it as illusion, is to see it truly. And I think this structure, for anybody that's read The Myth of Sisyphus by Camus, and it's not about the myth of Sisyphus, it's about his theory, where he uses Camus as a metaphor, but just a little bit of the book is about that. That my theory does have sort of the same grammatical shape as the absurdity that Camus is talking about, where a man wants meaning, discovers there is no meaning, and the absurdist, the absurd artist, decides to live anyway, feels liberated by that fact, and to enjoy life, and giving to appeal to some higher authority is really what traps you. Not realizing that life is an illusion. To segue back into my thing. So I've been wanting to talk about that. And, I know there was some other things. I, of course, have been, this political, this terrible, I hesitate to call it a war, between Israel and the Gaza Strip, and it's a very asymmetrical thing with a lot of bad actors and a lot of, when I was younger, I would try to think, well, what would I do if I could do something, or if I won the lottery and could have funds to, do something really creative, and fly over there or hire people to do, what would you do? And it's just sad to realize that nothing. There's a certain sense in which you can't help other people's problems. I do think that, the United States government, and therefore indirectly myself, since I fund that Leviathan, makes it worse. But and I do believe that there's ways for us as a culture in the world to stop making it worse. That doesn't really equate to making it better. So yeah. What else was I going to talk about? Well, I guess just that. It's an update. Um, Traveling for business. Santa Fe is really neat, but I was mixed feelings about that. Uh, the cooler the place you travel to for business, it's like the more I just realized that, offices and conference rooms all kind of look alike. So, um, yeah, there's some other things I'd like to do. I'm going to be really busy for the next month. But I have been thinking about the next stage for that tool, and uh, I got I got myself a toy that I wanted to get uh, before, but it didn't seem like a good idea in the savings. I mean, I but since I got a little work, I went ahead. I got myself a toy that's going to be fun. I played with it a little bit. It's complicated. It's a Native Instruments machine too. So yeah, that's back in Maine. But miss my family, and but I'm really happy. It's going really well. I'm getting along great with these people. It's a startup. I think I probably said that, and I think it's going to be good. The 4 weeks of work, I think there's a good chance of it being longer. Their startup funding's always an issue and stuff, so we'll see. But as far as us getting along and me being able to help them rectify some of the issues they're facing and go to the next level in their software base, I think I'm really well set up to do that. And I like the people and what they do. And so it seems like there was something else, but no, I got to get to bed early, so it's almost 11. I was going to go to bed at 11. I've been up late when I got here, and then last night I had a lot of emails to handle. Um, I'm also acting kind of as a technical consultant for some guys starting another company in which I'll be a partner, but I wouldn't have a lot to do at first. But I'm helping giving them technical advice and whatnot, and so I had to stay up late working on some emails to process that, and so I haven't been getting that much sleep. I wasn't gonna eat lunch today, and then I realized, what the fuck, that's stupid. There's all these taco vans. I think I mentioned before, I just love taco vans. People will give them a bad, complain about them and try to badmouth the taco vans, but I've never had a bad taco. Always with the soft tortillas, and two soft tortillas, it's great. I thought, well, this is crazy. I'm in Santa Fe. But see, I had that one bad Mexican food experience in New Mexico, but I was talking to some people here about it, and they're like, well, that's because that part of New Mexico is actually Texas. And so yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, part of me is like, oh, go make those videos you've been thinking about making, but I didn't prepare to think about that, and I don't have the time. So it's really more just, you know, touching in. I'm traveling, and uh, probably have to put up with some music in the future, near future, because I got my machine MK2, and I gotta put that to some use. So, what else? Well, that's just it. That's the whole story right there. All right. Cheers.